So let's turn now to have a closer look at the surveillance programs put on by the New York Police Department to try to get more information to, quote, keep the city safe from terrorism. Now, oftentimes this means law enforcement officers are sent into mosques, not just in New York, but around the country, to try to find out more information about what's being discussed there, to see if terrorist-related activity is being planned. But oftentimes what's ended up happening is that quite a few innocent Muslims have been targeted. Information about where they shop, about businesses they own is recorded. And lots of people are starting to look at this program and say, you know what, in a lot of cases, what's going on here is entrapment, trying to get people to take part in or help plan things to then turn around and arrest them. Still, a whole lot of New Yorkers actually don't see a problem with this. When asked in a recent survey if the NYPD has been effective in combating terrorism, 82% of people say yes, 14% say no. This is a study by Quinnipiac University. Another question, do you think the NYPD has unfairly targeted Muslims to combat terrorism? 58% say no, they haven't been unfairly targeted, and just 29% say yes. So I want to talk about this a little more with Linda Sarsour, an executive director of the Arab American Association in New York. Hey there, Linda. Talk to me about, first of all, these numbers. Clearly, we've heard about what's happening, about undercover people going into these mosques, and yet the city says they're doing a great job. Is this simply because we haven't seen more terrorism-related activity on a large scale happen there?
I think the numbers of the Quinnipiac survey actually there were only 984 people that were surveyed in a very large city like New York City, where there are at least 10 million New Yorkers. I think it's a skewed survey. But also, I want to say about the supposed terror plots that have been foiled by the NYPD, and they continue to boast that there hasn't been another 9/11. And I think that also goes about the partnership between the NYPD and the Muslim American community. For example, the Times Square bomber, Frazao, the first call that went into the 911 was a Senegalese Muslim street vendor. So I think the NYPD needs to think about their relationship with the Muslim community and how that in itself can help to counter radicalization as well as terrorism.
But in terms of some of these programs, Linda, I mean, is what's going on here actually legal?
I believe wholeheartedly that the blanket surveillance of an entire community based specifically on religion is absolutely illegal. We have that in the DOJ guidelines, that an entire community cannot be profiled, and there's a lot of racial profiling laws both on the federal and local level. So the NYPD says, well, no, we're not exactly spying on communities. What we're doing is we're following leads. And up until today, Commissioner Kelly of the police department, as well as Mayor Michael Bloomberg, have not been able to tell us what those leads are. The documents and the secret documents brought out by the AP are only showing us that the reason why we're being surveilled is because we are Muslim. They are Muslim-owned businesses, Muslim communities, Muslim community centers, and Islamic centers.
I think it's really interesting that you bring up some of these investigations by the AP, by the Associated Press. They've really stayed on this story. The AP, of course, very far-reaching, and police commissioner there in New York, Ray Kelly, has kind of turned it around, saying, well, it's the AP's fault because they're targeting us. And so he's trying to spin this and saying the police department's being targeted by the AP as opposed to what the AP is saying is going on, which is that police are in a widespread way targeting communities.
The Associated Press has no relationship to the community. There would be no reason for them. They're journalists. They're basically providing a report, an investigative report based on secret documents that were leaked to them from the NYPD. So they are reporters. They are putting out information for New Yorkers, people in the United States, and even internationally to make their own judgments about Commissioner Kelly and the NYPD. Now, remember, the NYPD has been attacked by many communities, not just by the Muslim community. They've been attacked by Occupy Wall Street for police brutality. They've been by the African American community and the Latino community in the United States and New York specifically, obviously on stop and frisk. I mean, this is not the first time Commissioner Kelly has come under attack for police tactics. We know that the NYPD, if it were an army, is the largest, seventh largest army in the world. And we need to make sure that someone's watching over the NYPD as they are infiltrating and spying on the Northeast, particularly on the Muslim American community.
Yeah, I think it's really interesting, too, how you say it isn't just the Muslim American communities. The AP study found that that the NYPD is actually recently been doing this with the city's liberals, a lot of times sending undercover police officers in to collect information at meetings of peaceful liberal activists. And so what we're finding out is they're taking information from these meetings, creating databases on leaders and, you know, where these next protests are planned across the country. Do you think this is new? I mean, protests have gone on, some of the major ones in the 60s. Do you think that this program to surveil them is new, or has it been going on and it just hasn't been reported on?
Oh, the surveillance that the NYPD is conducting is not new at all. I mean, we're calling it COINTELPRO 2.0, and we know that the surveillance of political groups, and that's why the handshoe guidelines were created back in the 70s. At that time, the founder of the New York Civil Liberties Union filed that original lawsuit. We know that this is the United States of America. People come here for political freedom and for us to be able to express ourselves and to have public assembly and to have street actions, and to know that our police department is kind of suppressing that right that we have in this country is what's really shocking to me as a person who was born and raised in the United States, and should be something that's shocking to every American, every New Yorker, and anyone around the country who looks at the United States as a representative or as an example of what freedom and democracy is.
Have you noticed an impact, Linda, in terms of people that you associate with, people in the Muslim community, in terms of trust? I mean, in terms of trusting one another even. Has there been anything noticeable that people are discussing in terms of being able to really know and understand who you're talking to?
Oh, absolutely. My organization is located in the largest Arab American community in the state of New York, in Southwest Brooklyn, and just hearing the conversations that by praying at your own mosque, you don't even know if the guy next to you is an informant. But the more shocking, the more chilling is the student associations. Muslim American students who we hope are encouraged to become active in community service on their college campuses are like worried about what types of events they're going to have. You know, what should they talk about politics? Should they have political events? This should not come out of the mouths of American college students in this country. And listening to how our community feels isolated and alienated and feels like the NYPD does not see us as a partner, but as a suspicious group. And we just learned recently what suspicious or someone under suspicion could then happen, which is like Trayvon Martin. Suspicious for walking while black, gets shot, and the entire Muslim community and me as a Muslim are being put on the spot as someone who is suspicious, just based simply on the fact of my religion, and that we share a religion with 19 hijackers who killed innocent Americans on 9/11.
All right, well, we certainly appreciate you weighing in here, giving us that perspective from inside the community. As you say, there are certainly so many people there in New York City who are dealing with this from one side or the other. Linda Sarsour, Executive Director for the Arab American Association of New York.